You ever start a movie late at night after a long day with no intention of finishing it, but it pulls you in? Then you have to talk about it with your friends and family because it was so good or so bad? You, my friend, are not alone.
Welcome to the Midnight Watch Podcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Midnight Watch Podcast, the podcast where we discuss the movies that we all love, secretly love, and love to hate. I'm your host, Jeremy, along with my brother Josh, and we're excited to bring you another fun episode.
Heck yeah, we are. And spoiler alert, we love spoilers here at The Watch, so don't say we didn't warn you. At the end of our review, we'll rate these movies in 4 categories. Number 1, did it hit its mark when it was released? Number 2, is it still relevant today? Number 3, for personal enjoyment. And the big one, number 4, is it a midnight watch? All right, sports fans, we have a movie for you today that's as American as apple pie.
That's right, Josh. Today we're bringing it back to 1962 by way of 1993 to discuss a tale of baseball and growing up. And if there's something we all want more of in life, it's stories about baseball and kids and killer junkyard dogs. And so without taking forever to get to the point, the Midnight Watch Podcast brings you our breakdown of The Sandlot.
Play ball!
That's so good. Oh, man.
trying to channel Ham there.
I think you channeled him quite well. I immediately I thought you were just gonna be like play ball, and then you did the whole like play. That was great. All right, let's jump right into it. So this movie came out in 1993, and it actually did really good. I'm trying to find my notes right now. I totally lost the notes. Where the frick are my notes?
Oh no.
There they are.
I just remember this movie being huge when it came out, so maybe that's just being a kid and liking it so much, but makes sense.
Well, actually, I was really interested in this because you and me are coming at this movie from 2 different points of views, and I'm excited because it makes it more exciting. That's why I'm excited.
It's good to be excited, man.
It's good to be excited. So, this movie had a budget of $7 million, and it made $34.5 million. So, definitely a home run. And this was directed by David Mickey Evans and written by David Mickey Evans and Robert Gunter. So that's pretty awesome. This I will say the director, he was like a triple threat. So he wrote this, he directed it, he's the narrator in the movie. So he plays Smalls, is like narrating the movie. This movie is based off of...
That's awesome. I didn't even know that. I was going to read some more up on the... just about the movie, and I never got around to it, but that's super cool.
Yeah, I was surprised at that. He's got like the perfect '90s dad voice. When you hear that, that's how I always feel like I should sound once I have kids. I got to get the high-waisted shorts, and hopefully that type of voice will start coming.
Well, talk to Dad because he's got some for you.
I'll have to borrow some of those shorts.
Right. Okay,
you're like right. When I was younger and this movie came out, it was a big deal. I was not allowed to watch this movie because there was swearing in it and there was bad kids behavior. I know you saw it, but I was like rebellious older brother Josh over there watching it. So, watching those PG rated movies, but I'm back at home watching Gordy, on repeat.
Yeah.
So, don't get me wrong. Not a bad movie if you've never seen anything else. So.
I was wondering how you're going to finish that, because that's true. If you've never seen a movie before in your life, I'm sure Gordy is a fantastic movie.
Gordy is
it's like the Kmart version of Babe.
Exactly. I was trying to figure out how to work that one in. Yeah, I was like, it's the B movie Babe. Yeah.
Right.
Anyways, okay, what's your story? How'd you get to The Sandlot?
So I watched this movie at Michael McKenna's 12-year-old birthday party.
Dude, for some reason I saw this movie just recently, and I was thinking the McKennas.
Yeah.
when I saw that we were going to review this movie. I don't like. I didn't watch it obviously with them, but that's awesome.
Right. Yeah, we I think we went and played baseball, like all the kids that came to the party, and then we went home, and it was a sleepover at his house, and we had pizza, and this movie had just come out on video, and yeah, it was awesome.
That's pretty legit. I watched this movie 10 years ago for the first time and was horribly let down because I thought that this
Really?
movie was going to be like the movie of all movies. Just, it's been hyped. Okay, so some people say The Princess Bride is overhyped. This was my overhyped Princess Bride movie where it had been, everybody's like, it's the greatest. It's a great film, And if I saw this when I was a kid, I would have loved it. But I saw this as an adult going through older years of trying to be cool and stuff. So I was like, it's okay. It's not bad. But I have different feelings now that I watched it again 2 days ago. And I'm so much more mature now, so I can actually look back and see what what I missed. This movie is starring, in no particular order, Patrick Renna, Mike Vitar, Tom Gurry. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing these, but whatever. It's our show. Chauncey Lepardi, Marty York, Brandon Adams, Victor DiMattia, and Shane Obedinsky, Grant Gelt, Marley Shelton, James Earl Jones. There's one I know. Dennis Leary, Karen Allen. I love Karen Allen, anything she's in. Art LaFleur, Will Horneff, and some other people. But those are the big ones right there. What's the synopsis?
The synopsis: in the summer of 1962, Brainy reserved... Oh, and by the way, this is from Wikipedia. Obviously just written by whoever, so I can't say that I would have done any better. I probably wouldn't have. In the summer of 1962, Brainy reserved fifth grader Scotty Smalls moves with his parents to the San Fernando Valley, where he has difficulty making friends. He tries to join a group of boys who play baseball daily in a local sandlot, but is embarrassed by his inability to catch or throw the ball. An attempt to learn to play catch with his stepfather, Bill, results in a black eye. Nevertheless, he is invited to join the team by their leader and best player, Benny Rodriguez, who mentors him. When catcher Hamilton Ham Porter hits a home run into a backyard, Scotty attempts to retrieve the ball but is stopped by the other boys who tell him of the Beast, a junkyard dog supposedly so large and savage that it has become a neighborhood legend. Many baseballs hit into the yard over the years have all been claimed by the Beast, which is kept chained up by its owner, Mr. Myrtle. One particularly hot day, the boys visit the community pool. Michael Squints Palladorus has a crush on lifeguard Wendy Peppercorn and fakes drowning in order to get her to administer mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. The Sandlot team is banned from the pool, but Squint's reputation is boosted. On the 4th of July, the team plays a night game by the light of the fireworks, and Scotty observes that although to the rest of them baseball is just a game, it is Benny's true passion. Later, they are challenged to play against a rival Little League team whom they handily defeat. To celebrate, they visit a fair where they try chewing tobacco and ride a spinning carnival ride. The combination causes them to vomit all over themselves and others. One day, Benny hits the team's only baseball so hard that he knocks the cover off. With Bill away on a business trip, Scotty borrows a baseball from his trophy room that is autographed by legendary player Babe Ruth. Ignorant of baseball history, Scotty does not realize the ball's value and hits his first home run, sending it into the Beast's yard. When the other boys learn of the autograph, they tell Scotty its value and make several attempts to get the ball out of the yard using makeshift retrieval devices, but each is destroyed by the Beast. Benny has a dream in which the spirit of Babe Ruth advises him to retrieve the ball himself, and that this will be the moment that makes him a legend. Benny goes over the fence and pickles the Beast to retrieve the ball, but the English Mastiff breaks its chain and leaps over the fence in pursuit. It chases Benny through town, resulting in several comedic situations and eventually back to the Sandlot. Benny jumps back into Mr. Myrtle's yard, but the Beast crashes through the fence, which falls down on top of it. Scotty and Benny lift the fence to free the dog, who shows gratitude by leading them to its stash of baseballs. They meet Mr. Myrtle, who turns out to be a former baseball player who played with Babe Ruth, but went blind after being struck by a baseball. he kindly trades the chewed up ball for one autographed by all of the 1927 New York Yankees. Scotty, who ends up getting grounded for a week for the debacle, gives the ball to Bill, and their father-son relationship improves. The boys continue to play baseball in the Sandlot, with the Beast, whose real name is Hercules, as their mascot. Over the next few years, the Sandlot kids go their separate ways. Benny's exploit with the Beast earns him the nickname the Jet, and he goes on to play for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Scotty becomes a sports commentator and covers a game against the San Francisco Giants in which Benny successfully steals home. Celebrating his victory, the two exchange thumbs up. And that is the movie in a nutshell.
Yeah, so I was really disappointed by the end of this movie. I mean, the Dodgers.
You wanna know why I was disappointed?
Because the Dodgers won.
Yes, against the Giants.
Right. I saw the Giants throw. I was like, strike him out.
Get him!
Get him! But no, they decided that they were going to actually have it a happy ending. I mean, it would have been happy for me. I would have been like, well, I mean, hey, at least you're playing Major League, but go Giants! So
Right.
Yeah.
In case anyone doesn't know, we live, breathe, and will die Giants fans.
Yes.
Go Giants.
Go Giants. Josh is a way bigger fan than I am. I am sometimes a fair weather fan. So I guess I don't know how to put it. I really enjoy the Giants. Nobody talks baseball right now for where I live, so it's kind of tougher to keep the flame strong. But
right.
Anyways, yeah, this movie though had some good baseball feels for sure. It's interesting because I have different thoughts about how to categorize this movie. As a sports movie, I don't think it's that good of a movie, but it's not really. It's like more about the love of baseball than baseball itself, and it's about kids growing up because the way that they talk about Babe Ruth and just different stuff like that. You know, I think they did a really good job of capturing little kids that are just. I don't know. They're kind of punks, but then when you get into the group, then you're in, and it doesn't matter what you look like or anything like that. Like you're in, and you get a lot of crap, but you also know that these people are like in there for you. So
right, they got your back. I think that to me, that's kind of that ultimate group of friends that it's a hard group to get into, but that's only because they're so fiercely loyal to each other. And yeah, exactly like you said. And I think that kind of starts when you're a kid. So it seems kind of tribal and whatnot, but it does. It does kind of continue, I think, into adulthood too. Sometimes with groups of friends that we find ourselves with. Yeah, and it's hard to stay friends with the people that you were friends with as kids, just because everybody starts to drift apart, and just because their interests change. You're not focused to. I only get to play these kids that live in a half a mile radius of me. Right. I like how the two main characters. What was it? Smalls and Benny. The director actually had them rehearse their lines together for like weeks before, so the other kids thought that they were best friends for real when they came on set, because they met them all like a month later. Right. So that was pretty smart. It is brilliant. I like that they're still, those two kids are still the friends at the end, and I thought that was pretty awesome. It is. I truly think this is one of the greatest coming of age stories. And I totally agree with you. It's about the love of baseball, but it's really not a sports movie. I mean, and you think about all the different things that happen in this movie, and baseball is definitely the backdrop, but it's not, truly everything, about the movie. It's just kind of the glue that kind of holds them together, that main interest, which I think that's a big part of friendship in general with people. I mean, you're friends with people because of interest usually, and as a kid, definitely starts out simple like this, but heck, as an adult, if I meet another Giants fan, we have something in common, and we might hit it off. You got stuff to talk about for hours, so that totally makes sense. Right. Let's see. I got some interesting trivia here, but I thought it was funny. The main actor, Smalls, Tom Gyrie, he was actually a really talented little league player in real life, but they actually had to teach him how to be bad at baseball because that's funny, pretty good. And I thought that's fascinating because he did a good job at like trying not to looking like he didn't know anything about baseball. Right. And because he does, he looks terrible. I mean, it looks like me playing baseball. Well, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool though. So yeah, and then also
the other part too with Dennis Leary. I thought about it and the fact that he's such a big baseball fan, and they hit on it a little bit, but it's like, why didn't they have him tell him like, hey, teach me how to play. Like, I want to know how to play because the other kids are. I mean, I know they do. That is the whole point, is they're kind of awkward around each other, and then through baseball they become close, and so that's good. But
yeah,
I was gonna look it up before we did this, and I didn't get a chance to. I wanted to know how much that baseball would have been worth for that 1927 baseball, all the signatures on it. I mean, I'm assuming it'd be like worth thousands of dollars. I don't know, probably more than that, because like Lou Gehrig and all that would be fantastic. Because I know the Babe Ruth one alone would be really expensive. Right. So, anyways,
I'm looking it up right now.
Well, another
and the answer is a 1927 New York Yankees signed baseball that is in mint condition with proper authentication can sell for up to $125,000.
Is that for like with everybody signed it?
I think so. Actually, that might just be the pictures are of just a Babe Ruth. Oh, here, how about a Murderer's Row ball? Okay, this is a different one. An authenticated official says that just a photograph? A photograph of Murderer's Row that was signed has sold recently for $350,000.
So, basically, Dennis Leary could have retired after he handed in that ball.
Right.
That's crazy.
Wow. Okay. Totally distracted by this baseball trivia.
So
anyways,
that is the so right there.
Anywho,
that makes this movie fantasy. No, it's kidding. This is a fantasy film, folks.
Right.
That's so funny. But Dennis Leary, though, it's so funny, like, because he actually, he's a big Yankees fan in the movie, and he's like Babe Ruth and blah blah blah. But he's a Red Sox fan in real life, so the whole time he's probably like saying his lines, and then as soon as they were cut, then he's like, got to get those words out of my mouth,
washing his mouth out. That'd be like us having to pretend to be Dodger fans. It'd be, almost impossible to pull off.
Right. I would start twitching, and I'd be like, like the whole like weird thing going on.
I might swallow my tongue. It could happen.
You're just like trying to go through like Dodgers, and Dodgers. I'm sorry. What's that?
Just start dry heaving. I know. It's a real thing, people.
It is
a real thing.
Yeah, they call it the baseball heaves. Oh man! So this movie though means a lot more to you than it does to me, because you grew up watching this film. You said that you watched it multiple times.
Yeah,
I
hadn't really seen too many. I don't know, new films at the time, because I was 13 when this came out, and I hadn't seen up until that point that many movies that had come out, unless I was at a friend's birthday party or something like that, because we just didn't, watch movies like that. And so God bless the McKennas. I watched quite a few. And these aren't bad movies. I mean, the McKennas aren't bad. They weren't bad for showing these movies to us. We were just super sheltered. That's all it was.
Them rebel Christians showing PG movies.
I know. And I was so mad that Mom and Dad loosened up as you and Joanna got older.
Oh,
when me and Jamie were your guys' age, we couldn't watch anything. And by the time you guys were, in high school, you're watching Indiana Jones and Star Wars and all the stuff that was, super banned, items for me.
That's
when
true.
I was younger.
Dude, that's true. Like, I'm not really too surprised about Star Wars, but Indiana Jones is pretty intense for how sheltered we were, how we're not allowed. I mean, dude, we couldn't watch Fern Gully. We had to like fast forward through parts of Snow White. So, yeah, I mean, it's funny. You're right. You guys, hey, my hat's off to you, sir, since you actually you braved the way. You pioneer. You.
Well, speaking of Indiana Jones, and you were probably gonna say something about this later, but Scotty's mom is Indy's girlfriend in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes,
which was cool.
And I like that they brought her back in Crystal Skull, whether you like that movie or not. Like, she definitely is the closest person I think that actually got Indiana Jones' personality. She was like right there with him. It wasn't Indiana Jones and his love interest. It was Indiana Jones and Karen Jones. Like, she was just awesome. So
right, yeah, really she wasn't just a damsel in distress.
Yeah, Karen Jones, Karen Allen. I don't remember. I was
gonna roll with it. Yeah, if he was ever to get married, it could have been her.
Right, absolutely.
Her character. Okay. Yeah, the other thing too, right around that time, I guess maybe when I was like 11 or 12, I really started getting into music from the 50s.
Oh yeah.
Our other friends that we grew up with, the Dykes, they had an old jukebox, like an actual jukebox from the 50s, full of actual records, a real authentic Wurlitzer jukebox, and it was full of just those little records of 50s rock and roll, early 60s. So I was really getting into that music anyways, and then when this movie comes out and the whole soundtrack is just chock full of stuff from the late 50s and early 60s.
Oh yeah.
So that connected with me too immediately, as well as just the story and just kind of being, in the 90s, but still that story of growing up doesn't really change, and the things you try to experience. And so that was definitely something I think that clicked with me with that movie as well.
Yeah. I was impressed. I was impressed with the soundtrack. I thought it was good. I think it was the Drifters that was playing every time they were showing Windy Peppercorn or whatever.
It's Peppercorn.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Peppercorn.
Sorry.
Get it right.
Peppercorn.
Have a little respect here.
Excuse me. Sorry, guys. And then also I liked the actual main soundtrack was really good too.
Yeah, I was really paying attention to that too this time. It has a lot of really cool bluesy riffs.
Yeah, it reminded me of
going on.
It reminded me of Monsters Inc. But I think Randy Newman did Monsters Inc. And this was David Newman. David Newman that did the soundtrack.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I was like, I was really feeling it, especially when the credits rolled. I'm one of those guys that I'll judge a movie by like the first song that's in the credits, because like I don't know, that can really leave you. It's the one scene that can leave you with a certain feeling when you leave the movie. So if it's like,
oh yeah,
awesome movie, and then the credits go and it's like, my heart will go on, and you're like, dude, we just watched Die Hard. Like, why are we listening to this? And
unless it's ironic, sometimes that's funny too, where you're just like, you're so pumped, and then it's like, oh my gosh. But
if Deadpool
I know what
did
you mean.
it would have been funny if Deadpool did it.
Right.
But this one, though, like they have that music from David Newman kicking in again, and I was like, this is good. I like it. It leaves you with like a fun. This is a very. I'm saying this in the best of ways. This is a very 90s movie. I think this one is a trendsetter for sure.
Yeah, and because it's a period piece, I feel like it's pretty timeless, and I'm probably super jaded, and even in 50 years, I'll be like, oh, this movie was amazing. It's such a good one. And it may not hold up in that regard, but I mean, period. That is the magic of period pieces. Unless there's a lot of special effects involved, they can kind of be timeless. And really, it's cool because any of the special effects that were in this movie are supposed to be over the top and fake, kind of that homage to.
Dude, yes, like the dog. Oh, the beast. Freaking loved it. That it was like way over the top. Yeah. Like super corny. I saw some cool behind the scenes special effects. They had two guys in a dog suit that were doing that.
Right.
Dude.
But because those are the types of movies that kids in that time period would have, loved and been watching. Which that was another thing. I was starting to really get into those movies myself. Like we were talking about those Rocket Man movies a few episodes back, the serials from the 40s and 50s.
Oh yeah.
So there are some of the movies I liked that I was starting to see back then. Do you remember that movie Them, about the giant ants? That
like the 1940s movie?
Yeah.
Or 1950s, whatever. I never saw that, but I know what you're talking about.
That creature features, or like Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
I started watching like the original Twilight Zone, episodes and stuff like that. So I totally connected with what these kids were kind of experiencing anyways, because that's something that was kind of new to me at the time as well. So it was kind of a perfect storm for me personally.
Did you look up
everything?
Did you look up the Wolfman movie after this?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
Which was so cool. I mean, what are the odds that I totally forgot about that scene?
Right.
That they show scenes from the Wolfman, and we just did Silver Bullet.
Right. I know. I'm like, dude, we're like subconsciously connecting our episodes in a weird way.
Somebody's gonna make a YouTube video of that at some point. They're all connected.
All connected. Yeah, I thought that was cool. I always love it when they show clips from an older movie, and except the things that I don't get. They didn't do it with this movie though. But it'll be like a newer movie that's PG will show like clips from an R-rated movie from the 80s, and it'll show like super violent clips from that. And they're like, oh, it's because it was on TV, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm like, dude, like, anyways. That's a soapbox for me right there. I won't be jumping on that right now. Let's see. This movie was originally named The Boys of Summer, and then apparently there was another movie that came out around that same time that was named that, so they had to change it to The Sandlot, which The Sandlot's a way better name than The Boys of Summer. Because, I mean, The Boys of Summer... I mean,
it works. The Boys of Summer works, but I would have thought of that, what is it, 70s or 80s song? Boys of Summer.
I gotta go Google that after we finish this.
And see okay.
When they said the Boys,
in my head, the Ataris covered that song, so I always think of their version of it.
Oh, that's cool. I was thinking of the movie, I think The Kings of Summer, which is actually a really cool indie flick.
Yeah, that came out a few years ago. Yeah, that was great.
That was a good one.
It's got that kid from Hannah Montana in it. That little Moshe's.
I guess. I don't know. I can't think of his name. I didn't watch Hannah Montana. My goddaughter's not old enough to like that show, and so I missed out on that one.
My girls, or at least Ryan. Ryan was super into Hannah Montana, so we that got a lot of play here at this house.
Oh, okay, gotcha. See, I missed that one. I'm sure that when my daughter's born, that we're gonna get on whatever. We'll go see Frozen 4. All that stuff. So. It's going to be good. Let's see. What other information we got about this? Oh, yeah. Patrick Renna, who plays Ham, for the whole trading insults one that we did so good at last episode. Yeah. We were going back and forth. That was hilarious. The director was just feeding him his lines while they were recording.
Oh, wow.
Dude, I'm surprised at how good he was at coming up with insults. I was never good at coming up with insults like that when I was a kid.
No, you gotta, but some kids are though. I mean, I think that's part of the fun as far as life experiences, like when you're growing up, and part of growing up is, trying out bad language or trying out these insults or, some of the stuff that he said. I mean, this just sounds so bad to you as a kid. Like, oh my gosh, it's such an insult. Right. And as an adult, you're laughing because you're like, wow, that's hilarious. It's so cute.
Right.
But that's such a big part of just growing up at that point.
Dude.
And some kids are really good at it.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Creativeness.
So this movie, I really feel like it did kick off a whole trend in the 90s of sports movies about kids. Because you don't see that as much now. And this movie, they had so the same year they had Rookie of the Year. And then, I don't remember when The Mighty Ducks came out, but I think it was after this.
Crap, might as well look it up while we're...
I want to say 92, which is before this, but my heart tells me it's after this.
And I think it was before.
Was it before? Dang it. Okay. Well, we'll maybe review that one sometimes.
92.
90, dang it. Oh, well, hey, I was right, but my heart was wrong. So.
Right. And 90, the second one came out in 94, so they were kind of bang, bang, bang. Oh, the third one came out in 96. I don't remember... Maybe I was too old at that point.
For D3? I didn't ever see the second one or the third one. So, hey, we'll do a trilogy one night.
There we go.
And then they also had the Big Green, they had Angels in the Outfield. Right. All those flicks came out, which Ham is in the Big Green.
Right.
And so this one though is the one that I remember.
Little Giants.
Oh yeah, Little Giants. Yeah, I forgot about that. So basically, you got a sports team, you got kids. You got the 90s.
They got to be misfits.
Misfits. I mean, Bad News Bears knocked that one out back in the 70s, and then...
there we go.
And then they had, 20 years before they were like, hey, we should probably do a movie with kids swearing in it. So, they didn't have, what was that, Walter Matthau? I can't remember his name. Matthau, yeah.
Walter Matthau.
The Odd Couple. There we go. So, what other stuff do we got about this movie?
Well, the thing that watching it this time, and I'm sitting here watching it with my kids and just thinking about, it's a coming of age story. And I just kind of started cataloging as the movie was going on, all the different life experiences that are in this movie. And maybe some of it's a little bit more particular to boys growing up, but I don't think it has to be. I think a lot of these things are universal, but just so many things that are a big deal to a kid and can really shape your life. But you're probably gonna have to cut me off here in a minute because I kind of went off on this little list, but moving, and it starts out with Scotty moving to a new neighborhood, new school, and especially right at the end of school, and then summer starts. I mean, that's a crappy time to have to meet kids. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a good thing with school because you're forced to be around kids, so you're probably gonna get to know them. Right. So you got the whole moving aspect, new friends, having a new parent. I mean, that's a tough thing to get, wrapped around. I mean, we never had to experience that, but I think we definitely knew kids that did.
Yeah.
Experiencing new things for the first time, really getting into something like, obviously in the movie, it's baseball.
Yeah.
Problem solving when they figure out they screwed up with the baseball and then they got to get it back and they also got to lie to the parents. And so the whole problem solving is something that you kind of learn as a kid. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. You get in a whole lot of trouble.
That's true.
Girls, I mean, or just being interested in the opposite sex, or whatever turns you on, I guess, these days. So,
right.
But yeah, just experiencing that, and hormones, and then just the different reactions. I mean, you got the little character Squints who makes that super bold move and fake drowning so he can kiss the girl that he's got a crush on. I mean, but kids would do that. I mean, it's not that far fetched. Which, fun fact, I did see that the director told him, the only thing he told that kid when they were filming that scene was keep your tongue in your mouth.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I did see in that scene that apparently they shot this whole movie during the summer and it was like 90 degrees and up like the entire time, except for that day that they shot the pool. It was like 56 degrees outside.
Oh my gosh.
So apparently I tried to see it. I didn't see it, but apparently you could see some kids like literally shivering while in the background. And like Squints, I think, is even shivering at one part.
Oh, he is, yeah. Which I didn't even think about. That doesn't, like when he gets out of the pool and when he's walking around to the deep side to climb up onto the diving board. And I always thought he was shivering because he was nervous about what he was gonna do. That's so crazy. He was probably just freaking cold.
He's freaking cold. So which that adds to the intense part of that. So that's pretty funny.
Right. All right, let me just finish up my little list here. But you have, overcoming fears. You have, I wrote clothes make the man. So you have that whole. Benny he puts on the PF flyers at the end of the movie, and that's, guaranteed to make you run faster. And like, especially when you're a kid, you believe that stuff.
Oh yeah. Or when he gives Smalls his hat and he's like, get rid of that fisherman's hat.
Right. Get rid of that ugly hat you're wearing. And that gives him, some confidence, trying controlled substances, they're trying tobacco. I mean, kids mess around with that stuff. Sleepovers, obviously the bad language, trash talk, hero worship. I mean, there's your heroes are everything to you when you're a kid, whether it's a sports hero or a movie star or anything like that. The whole spitting thing. I remember doing that so much when I was a kid, like trying to learn how to spit for one.
Right. Yeah.
Not dribble down your chin when you're trying to, hock a loogie.
Oh man.
That whole scary stories, just the independence of getting to run around everywhere, running wild all over the place. Getting into trouble, not thinking about consequences. So there was just, to me, it was just such a quintessential coming of age movie, especially at that time of life when you're kind of a preteen or maybe just getting into being a teenager, and just, I don't know, it's kind of magical.
I think that, dude, you nailed it. I think way better because like I didn't get half of that out of this movie, and I think you did a great job though of kind of bringing it. Man, we should have talked about this before I watched the movie. So, but
no, I definitely kind of was a little more existential, I think, looking at this movie than just, I don't know, being clinical about the making of the movie and different things like that. Because you could totally get into that side of it as well. But yeah, it gave me the feels, man. Which, yeah, that's awesome. That's a good movie, is getting the feels. That's definitely something that is important. If
you get the feels from a movie, that movie is winning for sure. It's doing its job. And the thing that's funny too is when they were doing the whole tobacco scene, and they're like, try out a chaw, and I was waiting for someone to be like, give me a plug of that, but dude, like, okay, so have you ever tried chewing tobacco?
I have not. I almost did when I was, I think I was 14, and there's a kid on my soccer team who dipped. And at that time in my life, he was like one of the coolest kids on the team, and I was just like, oh man, I would have tried it just to be cool like him.
All dippers are the coolest. No, I'm just kidding.
No. Well, that's probably 3/4 of the people I work with here in Nashville.
Got that cup. Is that Coke? Nope.
Nope.
Don't drink it. But, yeah, no. The thing that was funny though is I tried some chewing tobacco when I was like 20, and so I was like smoking cigarettes at the time. And so I was like, yeah, tried chewing tobacco. I tried dip and I didn't like it. And so I tried chewing tobacco. Dude, the pieces that the kids get like are massive. So especially if you've never tried it again or tried it
Oh,
before.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Like freaking what's his name? The guy who has it, who's like Big Chew. He pulls off like
Bertram.
like 2/4 worth of it, and I had stuff like way less than that. I was in a car with like 5 other people, and we were all like chewing up, listening to cool music and whatnot, and they were dropping me off after because I got off of work, and they were giving me a ride after we were hanging out for a while. So like I started getting really sick, and I thought that like I'd be fine.
Were you swallowing it?
No, dude. Like you're just
the amount of nicotine hitting you?
oh, dude, a lot. Okay, I might have been swallowing it a little bit now that I'm thinking about it. But because it's really dry, so you got to get a lot of your spit going there to get it really juicy. And so yeah, I started feeling really sick too, and so I was like, "You guys could drop me off at the beginning of my neighborhood," and they're like, "You sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to just walk home and kind of clear my head." And they're like, "Oh, okay, cool, man." So like, I'm literally like waiting to throw up, and so I get out of the car. I walk around the corner. I see that as soon as like I get around that corner, immediately I throw up, and it's just like, bleh, and it, dude.
So
like,
can you imagine being on a tilt-a-whirl then?
Oh, dude,
And trying that for the first time? Oh my gosh,
that would have been crazy. Like, I mean, in that scene too, apparently the kids did actually get sick because it was like. It was what was it? Licorice and beef jerky was the mixture to make the throw up.
Which sounds absolutely disgusting.
Right? Yeah, I know, dude. And yeah,
so that's really the best you could come up with to look like.
That's the best. Yeah,
right.
And I guess some of the kids did get sick, and then they were like shooting it from these like gun launchers to get that spray that And I guess so they did hit some people with it by accident, and that was pretty funny.
That's funny. Well, one thing I thought was interesting, I really enjoyed the editing of this movie. How it was cut together. I thought the pacing was really good, and the directing of the kids is amazing. I don't know how much experience a lot of those kids had, but there's this very cool, I don't know, just innocence about them, and I feel like they captured that really well. Not to say that these kids weren't good actors or anything, but I think the directing went really well on that.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to. I don't know. This is me just assuming, but I would assume it'd be hard to direct a bunch of kids to get on their marks and do all their things like that. And yeah, I was very impressed.
And make it feel natural, like it's not forced. Because you definitely see that in some movies with kids, and it just feels awkward or forced is more the word.
Right, and I know a lot of people.
These kids genuinely look like they're having fun.
Oh yeah, the director.
The fun factor is high.
The director said that the kids had like the time of their life. They thought it was like the best summer of their lives because they shot this movie in 42 days, which is pretty short.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I know most people when they think of like kids movies, kids acting and stuff, they're like the Goonies, like great acting that. Which, and this movie though has really good acting from a lot of kids and only kids for a majority of this movie.
Right. And even if they had to feed the kids lines. I think that's maybe where the editing just kind of came in really well because there's a lot of times there's fast cuts between what the kids say or their reactions and whatnot. So whether or not they did, like I said, had to feed them the lines, it totally works. And I was watching a little featurette that was on the DVD or whatever, and yeah, these kids are just having a blast and they're just showing them horsing around and like especially kids that really didn't know each other before this. I mean, they really clicked. So yeah, it must have been an awesome vibe on that set. Dude,
I agree. Like it just looked fun. I think my favorite character was because he's just like so hyper. And he's like, yeah, I gotta do this. And I was just like, dude, I know I had friends like that. I was not the kid, but that he was my favorite character.
I think, and that's such a fun collection of kids. I mean, I feel like that grabbed a really good demographic of the types of kids that we all might have known growing up, right? Had as friends,
right? No, I totally agree, and I thought it was cool that I felt like Benny, the born leader or whatever, was nice to that kid and stuff, and so I thought it was pretty cool. I know the director rewrote some apparently the whole part with the bull mastiff was his brother had to go over a fence when he was a kid and get a ball, and the dog actually bit him, and so they changed all of that. So yeah.
Oh, and I had this thought too. I remember when you were a kid and a dog bit you. Like it was a big dog or something.
Yeah, well, he jumped on me and knocked me down.
On you.
And that scared me.
You were scared of dogs for a long time. And I just remember it was funny to me when you as an adult, when, you know, you met your wife, when you guys were dating and she had a dog and all of a sudden you were just like all about this dog, which I thought was so crazy. Well, not even, I guess even before that, when you guys got Mandy.
Yeah, when Dad,
I had moved out and then you guys got, what kind of dog was she?
She was an Australian Shepherd mix.
Yeah. But you definitely bonded with her, but up until that point, and then especially like, you know, when you ended up being, you know, getting Pug, I was just so surprised because you were terrified of dogs for a while there.
Yeah, still, my dog still scares me. But, that's for a whole nother reason. Put that down, you son of a no. That's the third pair of shoes this week. You know, but anyways. Yes, I have yelled in anger towards my dogs, but I do love my dogs, and it's funny though. You're right though. That dog did scare me for like 10 years, probably something like that.
But yeah, it's something that, I mean, because things that happen to you when you're a kid, you know, fears like that can absolutely affect you the rest of your life. I mean, really mess with your psyche, which is, it's incredible. So, you know, the things that we blow up as kids, you know, it's something that's such a big, scary thing. You know, they obviously overcame it, and it's a, you know, the dog becomes their mascot, and it ends up being a sweet moment. But yeah, for a lot of kids, I mean, that something like that happens, and that scars you. You know, for life.
Like thinking about it now, just real quick, the dog that jumped on me, he's just trying to play. Like I know that now as an adult, but but as a kid, I was like, the dog's trying to kill me, you know, and like actually, I don't even know what I was thinking at the time. I just was like, dog jumping on me. I was scared of dogs for 10 years. So, so, yeah, I'm sure the same thing would have happened if a girl jumped on me. I would have scared of girls for 10 years. So, anyways, that might have changed a little bit once the hormones kicked in.
Maybe.
All right. So, what do we think? Let's go into final verdict. Do you have anything else you want to say about this movie before we? Well,
actually, I do have one thing to say. Just out of my love of baseball, I totally clicked. When they meet James Earl Jones at the end, who's, you know, the owner of the dog. He ends up being this super cool guy who's, you know, who played baseball, and you know, just, you know, he trades them the ball that he has that's you know, way more valuable than the one that the dog chewed up. But then he just says, hey, just come hang out with me and talk baseball. That was one of my very favorite things in life, is when I meet an older person who has loved baseball their whole life, and they, you know, experienced baseball before I was born, and the stories they have. And baseball is such an amazing conversation to have with people, and there's so many, you know, good memories and that people have that they associate, you know, good times in their life, whether it was with a family member or their dad or their uncle or their mom, or, you know, either going to games or watching, you know, I remember seeing this happen, or I collected that baseball card. And just some of the best conversations I've ever had, you know, involve baseball and talking with you know, older people, older fans. So
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I had where I work, I have several customers that are baseball fans over the years, that I've met different people that are like, they have in their 60s and 70s, and they're talking about the old school baseball stuff. And I totally agree, because it's like, it's a family that continues growing, and you're just talking about the stats, the different players, the times. I love it. And the fact that they talk about like the whole point where Babe Ruth points out that's the points where he's going to hit the ball, and then he hits it. And I have to say this too. Actually, I forgot about this. Two things. James Earl Jones, unfortunately, I'm going to destroy your thoughts on James Earl Jones right now. Apparently he hates baseball, so that was really good acting from James Earl Jones. So sorry about that. And
that's okay.
Yeah, I was like Darth Vader.
I'll get over it.
No, I hate baseball. No. Okay. Anyways,
it's not possible.
It's not true. Anyways, and then the other thing is, apparently they say like the bottom of the ninth is when Babe Ruth pointed out that shot. It was actually the bottom of the fifth or something like that in the game. So whatever. Anyways, like I said before, this movie's a fantasy movie. It's not a
right.
Not
it's about the feels and the love and the passion for baseball and growing up and all that stuff.
It's about the feels, man.
That's what I have to say about that.
All right. Any other final words before we roll into final thoughts?
I mean, other than the fact that it starts and ends with the Dodgers, I mean,
That's really my only bone to pick with this movie. So
Right.
if he'd have grown up a Giants fan, that just would have been the best movie ever made in the history of movies.
Yeah, that's why. That's the only
Or
reason I
close
don't.
to it.
It's the only reason I don't like this movie. No, just kidding. Okay, so this movie, did it hit the mark when it first came out? I'm gonna say 100% yes. Like I think
totally.
definitely give it an A.
Based on the numbers, and I just like I said, when this movie came out, I remember everybody talking about it, and I feel like it never lost steam.
Right, even today.
Yeah.
People, as soon as I started talking about like, yeah, I think we're gonna review The Sandlot. Oh yeah, I love that movie, or blah blah blah. Then,
Right.
I mean, did you know this movie has 2 sequels? By the way.
Yes, I have not watched them. I don't really ever want to watch them to desecrate, what I love about this movie.
Well, apparently Squints, the actor who plays Squints, actually came back for the 3rd movie, which involves time travel to the 70s. So yes, you made the right decision. Don't watch it.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't seen it, so maybe it's a great movie. I'm sorry, filmmakers. I haven't seen it. But I also stopped watching the Shrek series after Shrek 2 to preserve how much I like the first 2 ones. So
Right.
So you got to do what you got to do. These are the adult decisions to protect your childhood memories.
Right. Real choices in life, people.
Yes, you can kill hindsight. That's true. Let's see.
All right, so yes, I give it an A for back then.
I guess we kind of answered the question already. Is it still relevant today? I give it an A. I think anybody that talks about this movie, it's very fond memories. They've showed like you showed your kids this movie. This is a good kids movie.
Yeah, and they like it. I mean, I obviously probably don't love it as much as I do, but they do enjoy it. And I think because it's a period piece, you're not caught up in like, oh, it's my kids would be like, that's so 90s. They wouldn't necessarily say that just looking at it because of takes place in the 60s, and it was cool automatically when it came out, and it's still cool looking back at the 60s, at least in that aspect.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I give it an A. It's a classic children's movie. It's definitely a classic children's movie.
For sure.
All right, Josh, what's that personal enjoyment? Actually, go ahead.
It's probably no surprise, but I have to give this one an A.
There it is. Yep.
There we
go. I'm going to give this movie a C. And the reason I'm giving it a C is just like I enjoyed it actually more this second time that I watched it. And now my thought process with this is like that might seem like kind of a low spot for a low ball for this. I think though too, since like when I have kids and stuff that I'm definitely going to show them this movie. It's a good movie, and so it's a solid film. For me personally, it's not amazing, but then again, I saw this movie when I was an adult. I missed out on the train hype, so
right. I get it.
Yeah. So is this a midnight watch, Josh?
It is 100% for me.
Nice. That's awesome. Surprisingly for me, it is. No, it's not actually.
That's cool. I totally respect that decision. I get why it wouldn't be. I'm glad you like it more now than the first time you saw it. So that's cool.
Yeah. Well, I think I knew what to expect more because I was expecting this like magnum opus, and it's a good movie. It's a solid film. It's a very enjoyable, good feeling movie, like you said. It gave me the feels a couple times, and it is a special movie. So yeah, personal enjoyment though, I'll give it a C plus because I probably wouldn't watch this movie unless somebody else was like, hey, let's watch this movie and I'll pay you $5. So no, I'm just kidding. It's better than that. No, it's a solid film.
Cool.
All right, we got a midnight watch. So that's 2 for Josh. There you go. Man,
yeah,
we're knocking it out.
I have two watches, 2 midnight watches.
We got Oh Brother and we got The Sandlot.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we got all. You know what else we got? We got the quote for the next movie.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna do my best here. No disrespect to the director, but here we go. Mother! Oh God, Mother! Blood!
I had to look away from the camera. I was like, dude, oh man.
I might have been a little pitchy on that one. I might have been elevating my voice a little bit.
I don't think so. I think he nailed it. I think
did I capture the drama of the moment?
I think you captured it perfectly. Yeah.
Okay.
I felt it. The feels, man. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. All right, guys. Well, that's all we have for today's episode. If you want to check out this movie, You can stream it on Stars. Josh, the Stars app? Didn't you say, Josh, you own this movie?
I do own it, yes.
That's right. You should own every midnight watch anybody should own their midnight watches, because
For sure.
you're gonna watch it more than once. So I rented this movie actually on Amazon Prime. Definitely worth it. Special thanks to our sound producer, Jake Colvin. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you shared it with your friends or family or anyone you think that would like it.
Yes, and we'd love it if you would subscribe to the podcast. We'd love some positive ratings on said podcast. And if you're listening, that is on Apple Podcasts. We're on a lot of other podcast sites for the most part too. You can also check us out on Podbean.
Yeah, we're also on we're on Stitcher, we're on Google Podcast,
Right.
we're on Spotify.
Hopefully we're gonna get this up on YouTube soon. Start
Yes.
rolling that way. And so yeah, check it out wherever you listen to podcasts. Please spread the word. If you'd like to contact us, you can email us at themidnightwatchpodcast@gmail.com.
That's right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. You guys have a fantastic week, and as always, keep up the watch.